Hello and welcome to this next video in the series Bush Strips in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This time we visit Tasmania, Australia, and this video is the first of 4 parts covering Tasmania. Tasmania is a state of Australia, an island separated from the Australian mainland by the wild and dangerous Bass Strait. It is a beautiful environmental gem about as far south as you can go, but it has a sad, deeply moving past. In the 19th century, British colonialists transported their convicts to Tasmania, notably in harsh conditions at Port Arthur and Maria Island, and at the same time decimated the Aboriginal population who had been there for over 50,000 years, Australian Aboriginals being the oldest civilization in the world. And in the second half of the 20th century, short-sighted politicians and others wanted even more dams, more logging and more mines, and this resulted in major demonstrations and conflicts with environmentalists, including on an international scale. This led to Tasmania having the world's first environment/greens political party. And in 1996, Australia's worst ever mass shooting took place at Port Arthur, with 35 dead and 23 wounded, leading to the introduction in Australia of strict gun control laws. Tasmania is now a unique environmental heritage scenic gem, protected by the Tasmanian Wilderness UNESCO World Heritage Area, covering most of the remote, largely pristine western side of the island, as well as numerous national parks inside and outside the World Heritage Area, and other UNESCO World Heritage sites, such as the convict sites at Port Arthur and Maria Island. And here we see the location of Tasmania at the bottom right hand side of mainland Australia. Here we see the UNESCO World Heritage Area and the various national parks and the capital city Hobart. In this 4-part video series we use various Tasmanian bush airstrips to access the most beautiful special parts of Tasmania. Here's our flight plan. We will travel clockwise from Hobart at the bottom right hand side of Tasmania. In this video, which is part 1, we will travel along the bottom east to west. Part 2 will be up the west side, part 3 will be along the top west to east, and part 4 will be down the east side. By the way, check out the website flightsim.to to get various available freeware scenery for Tasmania. Before we start our flight, here is a drone camera view of Hobart International Airport, and further along, a little to the left, is Cambridge Airport, the main general aviation airport for Hobart, from where we will start our flight. There's Cambridge coming up with its many runways. Also a quick drone view of Hobart itself. Tasman Bridge is on the right. The casino tower is on the left hand side. You may not be able to see it quite yet. And the centre of Hobart Life, Sullivan's Cove, is straight ahead. Excuse my new yet to be developed drone camera skills. Okay, away we go in the default emerald gold Cessna Caravan. YCBG Cambridge has several runways. We will take off from runway 30, which is asphalt and 1,200 metres long. There's a view of Cambridge to the left with Hobart International in the distance. Then off we go to overfly Hobart City. And there's a good view of Sullivan's Cove coming up. Mount Wellington in the top right hand side. casino tower just off the left wing. Approaching our first bush strip, YSFY Sandfly. It's a private or local government strip, I'm not sure which. Prior permission is required to land. The runway is 09/27, a grass surface, 700 metres long. We will do a touch and go. Watch out for trees and wind shear. Bit of a hard landing, not too bad. There's a view looking back. Next up is YBYI Bruny Island, again a private or local government airstrip, I'm not sure which. Prior permission required to land. Runway is 14/32. It's a gravel surface, 600 metres long. We'll do another touch and go and watch out for high terrain, trees and wind shear. Not bad. And there's a view of a beautiful beach called the Neck, for obvious reasons. And there's a view of Bruny Island to the side. Coming into YGVE Glendivi now, again a private or local government airstrip, I'm not sure which. Prior permission required for landing. Runway is 12/30. It's a grass surface and only 600 metres long. Interesting strip on top of a hill. Flaps down, power back. We'll do another touch and go. Watch out for the slope, trees and wind shear. It's quite a slope. Okay, off we go. And I did say watch out for the trees. And there's a nice view behind. Now entering the Tasmanian Wilderness UNESCO World Heritage Area, and I'll show you some different views. Approaching our final destination for this part 1 video, that is YBHB Bathurst Harbour, Melaleuca, owned by the Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Service. Prior permission required for flying in and out of this airport, and also a special pilot endorsement is required. The runway is 12/30. It's a gravel surface and it's only 430 metres long. That's our shortest so far. We'll do a full stop landing here. Watch out for the distant high terrain, rough ground and a little bit of a slope. It's a very popular tourist and bushwalking starting location. Before we finish this video and before the clouds become a problem, let's send the drone up to take a gander at this beautiful World Heritage area, including Lake Pedder and Lake Gordon. This is beautiful Bathurst Harbour, which goes off to the left all the way to the west coast of Tasmania. One certain Australian Prime Minister in 2014 fought to reduce the boundaries of the World Heritage Area to allow even more logging. He lost. Had he won, it would have been the first time ever that such an action was taken against a World Heritage Area. This is Lake Pedder, formed in 1972 by damming two rivers, the Huon and the Serpentine, for even more hydroelectricity. The original beautiful lake was subsumed by the new larger lake, and a national park was actually revoked to achieve this. There were major demonstrations at the time. There is a campaign continuing to this day to have the original lake restored. The campaigners do not accept the name Lake Pedder for the existing lake, referring to it as Fake Pedder or the Huon Serpentine impoundment. This is Lake Gordon, a man-made lake created by the Gordon Dam for even more hydroelectricity. Water from Lake Pedder flows into Lake Gordon, making the Gordon Power Station the largest of the very many hydro stations in Tasmania. Additional dams along the lower Gordon River were later prevented through demonstrations and intervention by the federal government. And here's the drone returning to Bathurst Harbour airstrip. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to look out for Tasmania parts 2, 3 and 4, and if you feel inclined, please like and subscribe for further weekly videos. Cheers.